Hello, my name is Kamal El Rassi, and I'm a new PGI consultant. I'll be going over the Secret Genie lesson 4 for a video recording. This lesson almost summarizes the first three lessons, and it's a big one in terms of understanding. So here are some of my key points on the lesson. From first sight, the stick person is a very simple graphic of the mind, and it almost seems not right or too childish to share it with anyone else. That stick person image basically splits the body and the mind, and then the mind into two areas, the conscious and subconscious. So it's separating the actions from where the thinking comes from, trying to tell normal average people, how we think and what we do. Now, after looking at it and thinking through it, this helps the individual think at a much bigger level and allow us to think we are bigger than what it actually is. We can do way more. Bob does mention many times that the mind is connected to the whole universe, and this is based on the laws of nature. It's based on the real laws that we are familiar with, like the law of gravity. And there's a theory of frequencies and vibrations. It's mentioned many times throughout the lesson. So after seeing the video for a few times, it becomes natural to accept the thought of separating the mind from the body and approaching it from a different perspective. Now, what that gives us, in my opinion, gives us control of the thought in the mind. It helps one to learn how the law of attraction works, and it's a repeatable formula to help one achieve certain goals and results that we are unhappy with. So if there's something we want to change, and when we think of the mind the way this method talks about, we should be able to do it. See, for the most part, people do not think about these things, and they do not have a need to do that until they get stuck with the status quo or fed up with what's going on, or until a big event happens and they want to change their life. Something occurs. So this sets the person on a trajectory to understand the mind, understand oneself, understand product development, personal development, to improve themselves. So from there on, that would help them achieve different goals in life, overcome difficulties, and maybe get new sales records in business and achieve higher margins and higher sales and serve more people. So this could stem from many of us in corporations treating symptoms instead of a root cause. So when we see things happening in business, we always treat the symptoms instead of the root cause. This image could help us fix that. See, we have to treat the root cause permanently to overcome the issue from coming again and again. You have to go to the root cause. It's an emotional mindset situation. It's this behavior that will change the results. So what Bob is teaching us is that we look at our results and that determine our actions instead of we need to be looking at our goals, where we want to go, and start from that point. If we do that from the point of where we want to go, we are more likely to achieve our results and have that positive outlook. That's greatly where people results vary, right? So the mindset is everything. And also Bob mentioned that mind is movement. Conscious mind is the top part of the head, and that's where the thinking is happening in the mind. So imagine that there's a great power flowing through you, through us, and we've been conditioned to live by our sensors, the seeing, the hearing, the tasting, the smell, and the feel, and the touch. And all this will lead to the results. And most people on average will just take whatever they hear, take it right in as if it's correct 100%, and then they act on it. Very, very few people will pause and decide to reject the idea or accept the idea. Now, everything is just is. It's not negative or positive, and we have to treat it as such. In Napoleon Hill book, We Think in Secret and It Comes to Pass, environment is nothing but our looking glass. Hence, we have to be careful what we think about. We become what we think about. So in this subconscious mind situation where we're thinking about the outcome, where we're thinking what we want to be, that becomes important. That becomes the fertile ground for the subconscious mind to grow, which eventually would be executed through the body action and into the results. Another thought that we learned of is that if we're not feeling good, we are involved in the wrong idea. So if we're not feeling good, we are involved in the wrong idea. So what we could do, we have then go back and change the idea. And now that we are a student of this principle, we need to address that, and we need to know that very well. Remember that what we think and see and feel eventually is going to control the inside, and that's what's going to come on the outside. So we have to be in control of this thought. It's really interesting to see that think that every person has a genius locked up inside of them. We all have that same power, that mind, the mind that's connected to the whole universe. So to start paying attention to people and what they're saying and staying focused on them, to become focused and dedicated. And the other thing that I learned from the lesson is that we need to listen to understand, not just listen to hear or listen to respond, which is the worst thing. You got to listen to understand. Now, often people never say what they are thinking, and the more we listen to understand to what they're saying and their emotions and reaction, we get to see that. Very few people have this focus and dedication and to what they are doing, unless they're at the higher level vibration frequencies and performing really high and been trained in the mindsets, philosophies. So the mind controls the body. The body is the instrument, and the emotional mind is what determines what the body does. Again, I repeat it: the mind controls the body. The body is the instrument, and the emotional mind is what determines what the body does. So we can think of the other person and focus, and we can supposedly and feel and know the energy around them and see that how that conversation progresses. They could be saying something and meaning something else by their body reaction or body movement, and they're thinking of something, but they say something else because they are running on autopilot by the habit. Consciously saying something, but subconsciously they are saying something else. So go by the feeling. Also, as I mentioned, that feeling is part of the spirit, and the spirit never lies. So the spirit is the true and the ultimate thing. So it never lies, and it only expresses itself freely and truly. So if we go with that, we're going to have a better idea of what's really going on and listening to understand. We see this in salespeople often. So when we're selling someone, salespeople are selling something, you feel it. You feel the sincerity, or you maybe not feel it, that it's not there. And you know something is missing, and then you go away. You're not going to buy from that individual. And how do we know that? Well, that's the intuitive mind that is thinking for us. That's the intuitive mind and sensory factor that kind of helps guide us. So we can understand this and develop our intuitive sense much further. And if we think of something, we know that there's a positive feedback. We can start relate to these things. We can feel better, we can hear better, and we can feel the other person's energy and start developing ours. And one of the examples was to focus on a candle light and try to focus the will, which would increase the power of thinking, ability to see stuff and absorb and understand. You develop it through practice, and you take your mind off of yourself and pay attention to the other person. So when somebody's thinking, when somebody's talking to us, we need to stop our minds from thinking of other things. We need to focus on that other person and give them that undivided attention. Often this is known as the sixth sense. Sometimes we see people put their hand on their head or they close their eyes to help them out, and it's a matter of practice. So what's planted in the subconscious mind has to move to form. That is another big thing. What's planted in the subconscious mind will move to form. So remember, when the things that are coming to our life and they're not what we want, we look on the inside. What are we thinking about? The conscious mind thinks, the subconscious mind executes, and we need to learn how to bring that to the surface and putting it to work. There are the other lessons that we learn. There are no mistakes in life. It's only lessons. We get up and keep going. Learning is by doing, so keep on trying. We cannot let the balance sheet control our thinking. Cannot let failure stop us. We got to start acting our actions and learning and growing. There is no end to the good that we can experience once we start thinking in this kind of level. So with a stick person and all that you do, if we think of it with every person that we see, the conversations would be different, and we remember other things. Different thoughts would come to us. And the main thing that I also took is that, as this is coming to us, we can accept it or reject it. And, we can use the higher faculty to use it wisely. So this has helped many people, and especially in bigger organizations, sales organizations, executives, and it's phenomenal amount of information. I'm excited about this chapter and what follows. And thank you very much. Again, my name is Kamal, and I'm a new PGI consultant since the end of January. Peace. Thank you, Bob.